to try searching for freelancers, but I'm finally taking that trip abroad. Comes back to you. Well, should be near my shop. Find your freelancer quickly and easily at Fiverr.com.
Yo, good morning.
All I'm gonna say is that Panda Factories was 4 for 4 so far. We're gonna see about the last one.
Best Buy. Can gifting a new phone be easy? I don't mind putting effort into the right gifts. But after this... Well, we can find everyone in your family the latest phone. And we'll help you activate them from it.
Black Matt, I got a lot of his beats on here, yo. This shit be hot, yo. I know he making money off this shit.
I think I got this beat on my playlist too.
Yo, Black Matt got the hot beats, yo. Motherfucker be in there on that board.
Hey, don't let me forget to call James today. I gotta ask him about the prices that the new game. The other guy solidly, he said 400 is a good price.
What?
For 4 songs being mastered, but he said for 1,200 for the mix and master, he don't know. But I also gotta, you can stream it. I need to use your computer and not play the songs, but just copy them from the USB into an email so he can hear them.
So who can hear him? The guy who's gonna master or?
The guy Solomon, my mom actually knows him. He recorded me when I was like, the first time when I was like 16, a song called Rockstar. And he went to school for entertainment law. So I always pick his brain about something, or like, let's say somebody wanted to sign me, he would be the person I would call because he's an entertainment boy. And he's an older dude, he's probably like 50 something, but like he been doing this shit for a minute. And he said he sold all his equipment and now he's just making music overseas because he make that cross like his beats are hot. Definitely one of the best producers ever. He was in New York for a while, but now he's back in Baltimore, so he said just send it to him. But I'm halfway wondering, even though he's not really doing the music, is he just going to fix and master it for me himself? Like, he watched my whole career blossom over the last, like, 10 years, so it's a little bit different. Like, he watched me go from Reese's to a Moonrise to Egypt.
Yeah. You might want to look out for the cookout.
That's what I'm saying. And he might say, give me 400, and honestly, I would give him 400 before I get the ganja guy 400. He's even better than the ganja guy. But I might just gotta do it. But I'ma definitely have to get James to mix it just a little. They're clean as fuck. It's just a matter of James gotta put all the effects on there and then just send it to be mastered. Because I don't really want to spend 1,200 on the mixtape. I'd rather spend the 400 to get mastered and spend whatever else on promo and distribution. Because it's like it's gonna be more projects. I just want to get something out, but I do want it to be semi-professional. I don't want it to sound like it's just thrown together.
So that's the only thing I never did with my music, yo. Get that shit like mixed and mastered. That's why all my shit sound the way it sounds.
Shit still sounds good. Good music is good music.
Yeah, I'm all about the bars and shit, yo.
And that's the thing, like I have so many music friends and they send me songs that are raw and they're just raw, fresh out the studio. I'm an artist, so it's like I'm not. If you tell me there's not mixed and mastered, I'm not listening to that for that. I'm listening for how you put the song together, the cadence, your delivery, whatever. It's definitely fucking crunch time.
Here, you want to start this?
Yeah, if you just sit it right there, I'll grab it in a second. It's my last name.
conversations be underestimated.
Did you ever realize that there's no big or even like thicker size like princesses or Barbies or nothing? We were just talking about this last night, and they were saying how come something about the Disney princesses, and I said, well, they need to make one with an afro and some curly hair because even with the Princess and the Frog, her hair was curly, but it was like pressed out. I'm like, they need to like show somebody with like some real 4C hair. And then we were talking about it like, damn, yo, they never had a big Barbie doll or Bratz doll or Disney princess, none of that. So subconsciously, what does that do to a little girl?
I kind of get that, but being big isn't healthy.
I get that,
so
but it's
do we
like,
want to?
I'm not saying be big though, but she could still be like.
Yeah,
they're always this little like skinny, whatever. And then like even when it was Princess Tiana, like it's the Princess and the Frog. She's working. She's basically a freaking peasant. Like, where is there just like a black? I mean, I know there was like the Black Cinderella story, but I'm talking about like for like some cartoons for kids where
this is the thing, though.
Representation, like some curly hair, some afros. Don't remake none of the shit that's already made. Make us our own shit and some shit for little girls. Because I just feel like, even for me as a little girl, I really didn't have a lot of representation. Like, they might make a black Barbie doll for like a Christmas edition, but it wasn't until I stopped playing with Barbie dolls that they really even had any type of black or Hispanic or whatever Barbie doll. I'm just saying.
I mean, I understand this shit because who own these corporations who produce any of these products? White men. So why would white men who have white wives and white kids give a fuck about making anything dark or kinky hat or anything like that?
We need our own shit. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying it has to be like, it don't have to be an obese woman, but I'm just saying, why is it always a little stick figure?
Because
she's always beautiful with long
That's the
hair
European standard of beauty, and Europeans make shit for them, and you can buy it if you want. And so that's why I say,
like to see something with short hair.
Then you gotta make it yourself. If you want representation, you have to make it yourself. You can't expect an Asian person to go around and make shit for white people.
Unfortunately, I can't draw, but I will gladly write up a storyline for some little
but there are all kinds of small businesses and companies that make products specifically geared towards African Americans, so that we are included in the products that we choose to purchase for entertainment or educational usage or anything.
I mean, there are black baby dolls and stuff now, but it's just like I said, when it comes to the kid show, and even like now you got like Moana and a few of those others, but it's just like how many versus the white ones. So there's
just certain things I don't complain about anymore because I just know like it won't change until you do it yourself, yo.
But that's what I'm saying. Like somebody has to do it. Like I said, if I was an artist, I'd be on that shit now. Like, but I'm not an artist. Yeah. Not that type of artist anyway. But I'll write some shit all day long.
Because you still ain't gonna spark it.
But that's just a good thought, though.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Even when I shop for my niece, like, it's really hard to find dolls still that look like her. And then if I do find a doll that looks like her, a lot of times that shit costs more money.
I get it. But, like, once again, they just certain shit you can't complain about no more. Because we already know how
I feel like we can't complain about anything. They're not about to give us reparations anytime soon. This government.
I'm gonna keep complaining about that, yo. Because that was written down, documented on paper what they were gonna do.
Listen, I ain't mad at all. All I'm saying is, if they wanted to give us some damn reparations.
Oh yeah. This is it. They nobody said, "Oh, I'm gonna make black dolls for you," and then they turn around and say, "You know what? I'm not gonna make black dolls for you." But they said, "Oh, we're going to give you land to prosper," and then turn around and say, "Oh, well, we're not going to give you land." So until then, I'll always hold that against America. That's what we call, I hate this expression, but an Indian giver. It's like you give something, then take it back. Like, don't do that. Anything else, like, they never promised us anything else or said they'll do anything else for us. So I don't expect none of that shit. But you told my ancestors that after having us in bondage for 15, 16 generations, that you would allow us to the ownership of land so that we can prosper ourselves, and never gave that opportunity to us. So, like I say, there's certain things I complain about, and there's certain things that I just realized, like, you can't complain about it, yo. Like if you want something different, you're just gonna have to make it yourself or find somebody who is making it different for you. 'Cause
Yeah.
they just own everything.
You know, and it just goes so deep on so many levels because it's like even if you go and get your own station, like look at BET and how good BET was for so many years, and then now it's not even black owned anymore, and all the shit that's on there is just bullshit and
Mhm.
reality TV. So it's like even if you get your own channel, that you can't do it that way, and then if you try to go and buy a new station or something like that, they gonna slander you and kill your career. So it's like I feel like it's all owned by the same people. So even if you try to do your own thing, like you would need some separate platform or like website where people could go see that shit. Like it wouldn't be on TV. But it's just crazy. It's like how do we what do we gotta start doing as a people? Like I feel like that we all just collectively I'm not saying don't support white people at all because that's fucked up. But like I'm just saying like
It's
we
not.
need
It's not supporting white people. It's specifically
but that listen, let me
supporting black
finish.
people.
Let me I was getting somewhere. That's why I'm not saying not to support them at all. Like to straight up be like, oh, you know what? I'm not coming in your business today because you white. That's your prerogative. I'm not going to do that to anybody, no matter how they look. But my point that I was getting to is we have these platforms where it's like they show you these black businesses, but we need like a bigger platform that can reach people to where they can see like, okay, these are the black businesses in your area, or this is what's in need. Like, and I feel like we also need like some like program throughout the United States where we learn from people that look like us. But like I said, it's a whole, I feel like that would be like a whole big initiative, but it's definitely possible.
I mean, we already have every black platform we need. It's just not supported to the extent
But that's what I'm saying. We gotta support each other. Like I
where
always
it
tell
grows.
all my friends that are in their 20s and 30s, prioritizing like don't keep supporting a business. Go spend that. You go spend five, six, seven, $800 on some sneakers or some shit like that, but you riding on the bus or you don't got no place to lay your head. So it's like it's not everybody, but with the younger generation, I feel like we gotta prioritize.
50 Cent creates shows, which creates jobs for black actors. 50 Cent has a production company, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? And that's the thing.
And
Like,
he got that liquor money too.
but there's very few Tyler Perry's and Oprah Winfrey's and Jay-Z and Beyonce's and 50 Cents out there. Very, very few who can make it to that level of, financial freedom.
Right.
But
And of course,
even
I feel
people,
like you don't have to give away all your money just because you're rich. But it's like if everybody was to give back, even the people like that aren't rich, even if you give to somebody who has less than you, it's just like that cycle, that trickle down.
the whole thing is like I say, the wealth is so dispersed throughout the black community, uh, and we don't have enough business owners nationally. I mean, we have hubs where in some major cities the demographics are majority black, and of course you're gonna have black businesses in those areas. But areas like where I live at, where it's kind of diverse, or even the black population is less than other populations, it's hard to find a black-owned business to spend your money with.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we do have digital platforms, and you can order shit. Like I was at my homegirl's crib, and she showed me around and stuff, and I see she got some wines, and this shit say Black Girl Magic. I'm like, where the fuck you get that shit from? And she said it's two black sisters who make wine, and she ordered it offline. She ordered it from their website. And so there are ways to support black businesses for products and services that you want, even if they're not, you know, local to you. So, and that's the thing. We just have to seek out where we want to spend our dollar at and how we circulate our dollar amongst ourselves, because in America, this capitalistic nation that we live in, anytime 9 times out of 10, anytime you spend money, you about to spend it with a white person, no matter what you buy. You
Well,
buy
even if
you
you're
buy
not, they gonna get
blunts,
a cut.
t-shirts, do-rags, game consoles, snacks, anything you buy, you spending your money with a white owned company and helping them to prosper. So it's not what I'm like I said, it's not don't spend money with white people, but you
Go out your
more
way to
often,
support the
yeah,
black
seek
people,
out
yeah.
black people and products from black
Yeah.
companies, black owned
I
companies.
saw that Lil Wayne sold. I heard he sold Nicki stuff too for like 100 million.
Yeah, Lil Wayne sold this shit, yo.
But that's crazy. Like you're worth more than that, bro. You're worth more than that.
Oh no.
But I don't know. Maybe that's what I need to dedicate some time to. Is just shedding some light on on.
But is
black
Lil
men.
Wayne really like? Is his music like? I mean, he's a legend, definitely. But like, is his music like really crossover like that?
Yeah.
Where it's in commercials
What?
and in movies and stuff.
He got songs and movies. Not to mention the fact, I'm sorry, not to bring race into it, but any white person across America, who they two favorite rappers? Eminem and Lil Wayne. Say they so. All white boys love Lil Wayne and Eminem.
That shit is fading out though. You know, their era is coming to an end.
Yeah, but most of the music comes from younger white people with the sales and shit and a lot of overseas money.
Yeah. And that's
I don't
why
think
Lil Wayne
Wayne's
did the
fading out.
rock
I still
music.
listen to Wayne and he's producing it.
Yeah, he did the rock music. He did like all the skateboarder type shit, and so he'll always have that crossover appeal in the music industry. But does his music, span outside of that? Because like a lot of rappers and other musicians, like their music make it into TV shows and movies, commercials, and stuff like that. And that's where
Grammys or anything?
that's where it holds the value at, because now even the song can be 10 years old and they throw it in a Pepsi commercial and you're still making money off of that shit. You still getting bread off of your old masters and shit. But once you lose
was on a Pepsi commercial before.
once you lose ownership of that shit, yo. But then he's always been like semi controversial because he's a drug addict, yo.
But that's what I'm saying.
So how many
like,
sponsorships are you gonna get
I feel like
from a drug addict?
I feel like when he sold his masters just now, that was like some drug addict shit. Like I really feel like he could have gotten more.
That's what I'm saying, yo. Like,
but I mean, think about it. Like Michael Jackson, yo, when he died, he got his rights back. All of a sudden, he dies, whatever, and then his family ends up selling it, and now it's worth like how much? I don't even know. Something crazy.
You can't even imagine how much.
I think like I don't know if it was 2 million or 2 billion, but I want to say it's like.
No, his shit worth billions of dollars.
I'm pretty sure his shit is worth 2 billion. Oh yeah, it's worth 2 billion, and they sold it for like I don't know.
But see, Michael Jackson did the ultimate move. Like he was buying up Sony. He was buying up the masters of Sony, of artists that Sony had. And when he did that move and brought the Beatles, he owned all the Beatles music. You can't, once again, movies, love stories, and chick flicks have Beatles music playing in the background. You couldn't do that shit ever again unless you asked Michael Jackson and paid Michael Jackson to use the Beatles music in anything. In anything. You can't play that shit on the radio or nothing like that, yo. Like he owned all the masters of that shit, yo.
That's an artist's worst nightmares to not own their own shit.
And that's why I gave a nod to Jay-Z. Like I don't really fuck with Jay-Z and I don't buy his music and shit, but he bought all the Tupac masters. That motherfucker Jay-Z owned all Tupac music, yo. Power move. How you beefing with this nigga? And then you wind up buying all his music because you just know that shit gonna be worth so much money, yo. That shit gonna be worth so much money.
Too. If you beefing with him, it's like I own your shit now.
And that's still a power move though.
For sure.
You look, that's a power move. I'm like, God damn, yo, Jay-Z didn't.
You know I like Pac, so I'm just like, damn, how you gonna do Pac
that's
like
crazy,
that?
You know?
You dirty.
But then now it's like, and that's why you don't really hear pop music playing nowhere no more, like, because that shit is in a vault somewhere. But then it's like, what are you gonna do with it?
Shit, 92Q, that's the station in Baltimore. They play Pac a lot.
Now that you own that shit, what you gonna do with that shit, yo?
Yeah, it's sad what happened to Pac in general, yo. Like he really was a legend.
And once again, 26 years old, he accomplished all of that, and he had to have a childhood first, but in roughly 18 years of life, 20 years of life, this motherfucker did everything he did, yo. Multiple movies, poetry books, wrote dozens of poems, multiple albums. You know what I'm saying? It just had this aura and this persona that will not ever go away, yo. This motherfucker will live forever. You know what I'm saying? Little black kid, fucking 26 years old. That motherfucker changed the whole world. Changed a lot of people's perception and perspective of the world. Let's go. Pac was the fucking greatest.
Yeah. The whole music.
And then when you listen to his music, like his flow and his rhyme wasn't the best. It was just something about his voice and his delivery.
I feel like if Pac was on Biggie's beats, Biggie had the best beats in my opinion. I like the East Coast beats, but Pac had the flow, the lyrics. But really, he did have a flow. Like it depends. Like Ambitions of a Rider.
Yeah.
He bodied that. He rode that beat the whole way.
Yeah. But he like both of them had simple flows. They weren't like no Lupe or no Tech Nine and nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. I'm high as fuck. Man. But down, like Pac was that dude, yo. Somebody said Pac wasn't ahead of his time, but he was one of a kind of his time, yo. And one of his greatest sayings, one of his best quotes is like, he said, I may not change the world, but I guarantee you, I will spark the brain of the person who does.
That's deep.
He said, I guarantee you, I'm going to spark the brain of the person that changed this shit, yo. My ambition is just a ride. So what it do this morning, guys? I'm high as shit, yo.
This is my nail bottle. I'll get you one.
Buy all this shit and put that shit in a vault somewhere. Lock the door on that shit. Yo, I don't know who the guy is, but RZA told a story that somebody bought a Wu-Tang album. Like Wu-Tang put together an album, and some rich millionaire bought this shit and never released it. Nobody never heard this shit. A whole album. A whole Wu-Tang album that nobody ever heard, because when it got done, somebody just bought the whole fucking thing and just kept that shit in the safe somewhere.
Waiting on them to die so then they can make the money off of it.
No, Pac didn't like Jay, yo. He said that shit and hit him up, yo. He called out everybody. Mobb Deep, Jay-Z, Big and Smalls.
Yo, he went in and hit him up. Don't one of you got sickle cell?
And then
I was like, ooh, damn.
His bodyguard was like, after he recorded that track, he was like, we're gonna need a little more security and you're gonna have to start wearing a vest.
That's why I fucked your wife, you fat motherfucker.
Jay-Z died too, looking out for Mobb Deep, creeping when I find you.
Spazzing.
Yo, motherfucker were crazy on that hit him up. I hit him up. Nigga, I got popped in your city. And you don't even know what happened? Really, nigga? And I know everything. I know everything that happened, nigga, and it happened in your city. What is Saturday? What y'all doing today on Saturday? Oh man, it sounds like the speaker's not connected properly. I hate when it does that. What are you guys doing on this big Saturday? Any plans? Anything major on the agenda?
Can't wait till I get this project on SoundCloud and we can just play everything at once.
That's what I need to do. Put my damn. I got all my songs in a file list, but you got to stop one and go out and play the next, and then I need to put
Well, if you give me the stuff, I'll upload it for you.
all that shit on one file so I can play it through. And then I had burnt a couple CDs and wound up leaving them shits in that fucking factory radio that they fucking took. I had my master mix CD in that bitch.
Oh, wow.
Son of a bitch. And so now I just got like a few tracks on YouTube. I think I recorded 32 tracks over the years, yo. And like I really I really like did the music real hard for about 2 years. And in those 2 years, I recorded about 32 fucking songs. And only put 12 of them out on YouTube because even out the 12 that's on YouTube, only like 4 of them, 5 of them are really good. And the rest of them are just like, but all my other shit is trash. I still like to listen to it for myself though, but all my other shit, man, that shit trash. Yeah, RZA sold that album, yo. A whole album. That nobody never heard that shit, yo. That shit crazy as fuck, yo. How you sell a whole unreleased album? Cause I forgot how he told the story. I forgot how he said that shit. But whoever the dude was, he was just like on it. Niggas like, yo, let me get that for so many millions of dollars. Yo, he paid for that shit, yo. It wasn't no cheap deal. He paid like hell for that shit. But yeah, this motherfucker got an album. He never let nobody else hear that shit, yo. Just him. You know, and probably some of his close friends come over there with some scotch or some cigars. Like, yo, guys, you want to listen to something? Got this Wu-Tang? You know what I'm saying? When that shit was in like in the late 90s or early 2000s. Like 99 or 2000, 2001 or some shit like that. Got this old Wu-Tang album nobody ever heard. I still keep all my old pads though. This is all my years of writing. That's the main thing, yo. Like, I watched the Beanie Siegel interview, and somebody's like, "Yo, Beanie, any advice to any young rappers trying to get in the game?" He was like, "Write, bro. You really want to make music, you gotta write songs, man. Write, and then write some more, nigga." But even if it ain't nothing but a few bars, ideas, or a list of words you're gonna try to play off of. But I had fucking like stacks of these fucking notebooks. I think this may have been one of my main ones, or one of the last ones I was working on. long bread, yo. Like I say, he was some fucking billionaire or some shit, yo. Motherfucker just got long bread, extra money, nothing to do with that shit, yo. He's like, I'm gonna buy this fucking album. I wonder how much that shit worth now, though. I don't even know if Wu-Tang can buy that shit back. Yeah, I'm trying to find this one fucking rap. Yeah, this is some old shit, but it's kind of hot though. I ain't saying that shit.
Can you get an encore?
Dear Best Buy,
I still can't
I
find this one shit I'm
think
looking
something
for.
else I can do with my dad. Something less.
Something less.
Black man.
I'm gonna learn how to fucking make nail polish. Make me fucking killing it. I don't know why I didn't think about that. All the spa shit I do.
Still might put out a little mixtape too. I keep thinking about that shit. But I don't know. I would definitely have to write some new shit. But there's been so much shit to talk about, yo, in the past couple years, like in the world in general, in the media, in the black community. Like there's ass of shit to talk about. Tons and tons of shit. SpaceX. What's this? Watching live a SpaceX mission. Live global news. U.S. stands on the brink of shutdown as Corona stimulus talk. That's what? Yo, the one nurse. Yo, the nurse passed out after she took the vaccine.
Babe.
Yeah.
Don't laugh at people.
What?
Don't laugh.
Yo.
Babe.
Yo.
Babe, she might be done for taking it, but she probably had to. Don't laugh. Because when they come breaking down this door, we gonna pass out.
Yo, nurse passing out after COVID vaccine. She was like, I'm feeling kind of dizzy. I think I'm getting a headache.
Don't laugh.
A nurse is vaccinated, but just minutes later, this happens.
I'm sorry.
Tiffany Dover fainted as she spoke to reporters at a hospital in Chattanooga, Tennessee. But it turns out it wasn't a reaction to the vaccine.
Right.
Tiffany has a medical condition and
Okay.
faints often. She
She does that all the time.
I have passed out probably
probably 6 times in the past 6 weeks. It's common for me.
It's very common. People should not use that as a barometer for not taking the COVID-19 vaccine or other vaccines.
No such mishaps in Washington, as Vice President Mike Pence was vaccinated. But watch as the hand of medical technician Sean Wayne shakes nervously as the needle into his arm.
I, by the way, as a surgeon, am also a little bit afraid of needles.
Neurosurgeon Dr. Sanjay Gupta reveals he's afraid of needles, but he went ahead anyway, live on CNN.
Is it in? It's done.
But even as thousands get vaccinated, the pandemic rages on, worse than ever. 100,000 new cases were reported in 48 hours in California. Among them, the 9-year-old daughter of LA's mayor. Also revealing her COVID diagnosis, 47-year-old supermodel Eva Herzegova. And the condition of the president of France, Emmanuel Macron, is said to be worsening. He contracted COVID after a meeting with other European leaders. There are no ICU beds available anywhere in Southern California. Hospitals are no longer allowed to turn away ambulances and must accept patients regardless of their capacity. As a result, there are often ambulances lined up outside with patients waiting to get in. The lack of bed space also impacts patients who don't have COVID.
Yeah. Everybody else in the world who don't have COVID is like...
you guys said RZA Beats was trash. But you guys, he was like... He wasn't on as much. I think he was like an extra to Wu-Tang. You know what I'm saying? Was he like a officially, canon? Or was he just like an extra sometimes? But I don't know, man. I used to like RZA Beats, and I had a homie back in the day, yo. He was all about Wu-Tang, and he was making beats like this was like once again in the 90s. Man, he had like a little equipment in his house and shit, little 4-track and all this shit, man, making beats and shit. But he tried to make RZA type beats. You watched that Wu-Tang Saga? Yeah, that shit was good as shit. I still think this pandemic is mostly orchestrated, yo. I really do think this shit is mostly orchestrated.
Well, what about companies? Because I feel like 2020, my email inbox was just company after company saying what they're going to do better for the climate in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah, I mean, on one hand, it's really exciting to see all these companies making commitments, many of them also net zero.
Yo, y'all gonna take that vaccine to get that stimulus check, yo? Yo, she fainted, but she said she faint all the time. It wasn't the vaccine. You know what I'm saying? Hey, the Vice President Mike Pence, he got his vaccine shot live on CNN. You know what I'm saying? That proves that it's safe. Because that's not just some saline solution or some whatever they shooting up in there. That's the real vaccine. You know what I'm saying?
Any attempt by the Senate to pass an omnibus appropriations bill and leave town before passing a COVID relief bill with substantial direct payments going to working people. The truth is that the working families of this country today are probably in worse economic condition than at any time since the Great Depression. Millions of people are unable to pay their rent, and they're worried about being evicted. Hunger is literally at the highest level that it has been in several decades, and in the midst of this terrible, terrible pandemic, we got tens of millions of people who cannot afford to go to a doctor. That is unacceptable. So I would say to my colleagues, let us get this package passed. Let's make certain that we have direct payments to working families of this country. And with that, Mr. President, I would withdraw my objection.
Without objection, the Senate will proceed to the measure.
I ask unanimous consent. The joint resolution be considered read a third time.
Is there objection? Without objection.
I know no further debate on the joint resolution.
If there's no further debate, the question is on passage of the joint resolution. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no. The ayes appear to have it. The ayes do have it. The Senate resolution is passed. The joint resolution is passed.
I ask unanimous consent that the motion to reconsider be considered made and laid upon the table.
Without objection.
Well, that's pretty easy. Pass that little money package, y'all can get that bread, boy. Get that bread.
I used to love Bernie.
Huh?
I used to love Bernie.
Bernie, he old. He losing the fight. Man, he ain't got no more fight in him. He ain't no young dog no more, man.
Yeah, I think when he initially joined the fight, he might have really wanted to help people.
He been doing that. He was marching with Dr. King back in the day. They got pictures of him and Dr. King marching across the bridge. Bernie been doing this shit just as longer than.
But what white person marched with Malcolm? What white person suited up with Malcolm?
That's the thing. Like,
and that's why. Listen, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist right now. I was totally Team Bernie like 12 months ago, and 10 months ago, I absolutely hated Donald Trump more than anybody in the world, more than Hillary Clinton. And so I really changed my mindset on some shit. I don't really like anybody, period. But it's just like, okay, you marched with Martin. I respect that, because Martin was trying to do the right thing. But all I'm saying is them same motherfuckers, they ain't never marched with no Malcolm, so go suit up with no Malcolm. So it's like, it kind of still makes you question, what are their motives, and were they just somebody on the inside?
Yeah, but the thing too is,
I'm not accusing him though, because I want Bernie to be a good guy.
For the highest part of Malcolm X exposure in the media, he did not want to fuck with white people, point blank, period. He had the one white girl walk up to him and say, "Hey, Mr. X, I understand. I want to learn more. What can I do to help?" And he said, "Ain't nothing you can do. Stay the fuck away from me. Ain't nothing you can do to help me."
I feel it.
You know what I'm saying? And
because look at what white people did to him.
Exactly. So you won't find anybody who is with the Nation of Islam.
But do you get my point?
I do.
Like,
I absolutely get the point.
Every time, like the white people who go and fuck with the black people is always somebody who's peaceful, like Martin. And I understand why Martin was peaceful. I respect the fact that he was trying to be a stand-up man. But after y'all do some shit to me or put my family in harm's way, I'm turning all the way Malcolm by any means necessary, period.
But see, that's the perfect example of how they treat the black community. It don't matter if you're love thy neighbor and turn the other cheek, they gonna kill you. It don't matter if you pro-black and black power, they still gonna kill you. It don't matter which way you do it. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you obtain enough power and enough influence to get large masses of black people to listen to you, you are going down. You can't change the shit. You can't organize us on a national level. They do not want that shit. And once again, they killed both of them men and set examples. You want a black messiah? You want to raise a black messiah? You want to train these black youths to be militants and to create a nation within our nation? Then this is what's going to happen to you. And that's the only reason I respect goddamn Farrakhan and his organization, because they've been doing it for a long time, and they still, like, you don't hear a lot of shit about that. The inner workings of how they keep that shit secured and structured, if you're not a part of it, you just don't know. But they got their own schools and their own businesses and their own communities and neighborhoods and their own army. And these motherfuckers do for themselves. A nation within a nation.
definitely not perfect in here. Dr. Malachi York had his shit too.
Because we recognize that there is a African
He straight bulldozed that shit, said get it out of here.
And that we largely know very little about this. We want to encourage the attendees at our conference.
All right, we're gonna take for a little minute, start working on this hair. In order for me to do that, I'm definitely gonna have to
end this tradition. After all, as Dr. Wilson might say, reading for what?
Have to put some black
To
on
what
it.
end do we learn to read? To what end do we learn to write? Why? After all, there are several people among us who already know how to read and write extremely well. The last time that Dr. Wilson was here, he pointed out to us that people like Colin Powell, who is Chief of Staff, who heads the nation's armed forces and will direct those forces wherever our government or the government tells him to take them, whether it be in Africa or someplace else in the world. He goes at their bidding.
I don't know why
He
this
reads
is so quiet.
extremely well. Conservatives like Clarence Thomas read and understand. It has generated that psychology. If like violence, or when we talk about the miseducation of our children, or many of the other problems that we talk so much about, you must come to recognize.
I want to hear that one, but the volume.
You're very kindly. It's indeed a pleasure to return here again to share these moments and time with you, and of course to apologize for not being able to make it last year. But unfortunately, it sort of burnt myself out a bit, particularly in terms of my speaking voice, so I had to sort of take a rest for a while. And so it's good to sort of kick off my return out here to the lecture circuit, speaking with you today. I was told that my topic would be the psychology of African liberation. And I won't pretend to speak to that very fully, but certainly I will try to make a contribution. And I think the title is apt in that it's very important that we get to the psychology and what we call the metaphysics of liberation before sometimes we get into the real activity.
Yeah, they got to follow him. They sent his ass a letter telling him to commit suicide because they're going to kill him anyway. Got recordings of him and his mistress, and he sent that shit to his wife. And in the 90s, his family sued the government for taking part in his assassination, and they had to come clean. And the King family won a large court settlement from the United States government.
Liberation. In other words, it's important that we get to know the guiding concepts, values, goals, and other important psychological, philosophical, and ideological factors that contribute to what we are trying to accomplish in the world itself. Otherwise, we will find ourselves reacting and acting in terms of emotions. We will find ourselves engaged in rebellion and reform instead of revolution, which is what we need to engage in most of all. Genuine revolution must be preceded by then what we call the metaphysical revolution. That is a change in values, a change in perceptions, a change in what we see as the goals of life and the reasons for living. Then this is followed by the actual practical revolution. And often I think in the past we have reacted more so than thought out exactly what we are trying to accomplish.
That's our
As
problem.
a people, and often then at the end of our reactions, we ended up with some results with which we don't quite know what to do. I think a part of this psychology of liberation
Smoke with you a little bit, bro.
must, of course, involve what I would call a bit of self-knowledge, a bit of getting to know who we are, what we are, and why we are. It involves us looking very deeply into ourselves and looking ourselves in the eyes and
That don't even sound good, bro.
truth to ourselves, regardless as to whether that truth is painful or not. We must face the fact that we as a people, and I'll put it this way, let me put it this way, I often say it this way and I'll say it again. In order for us to be in the position we're in as people, we have to be crazy. We have to be out of our minds. We have to be in a state of deception and off our centers. It is not possible for the European, who is about 10% of the world's population, to rule over the other 90% of the world's population unless that 90% is crazy and out of its mind. It is not possible for the European who inhabits lands that are not wealthy in their natural resources and yet to be seen as the world's wealthiest people, and our peoples who inhabit the lands with abundant natural resources to be seen as the world's poorest people. For us to be in that position unless we are out of our minds as people. In other words, in being crazy and being out of our minds, being maladjusted, whatever word you want to call it, is a political necessity for the European system to survive. It could not survive otherwise. And we must recognize that as the foundation of our situation, the necessity of the European to keep us out of our minds and to keep us maladjusted as a people. Therefore, the liberation of African man and the liberation of the world in general essentially involves the liberation from this state of craziness that we've been put into, and recognizing it and determining how we can escape it.
Y'all niggas crazy and don't even know it.
This state of mind that has been imposed upon us by political and other means, we then will begin to achieve what I call our liberation. I like to use as a base for what I'm going to talk about here tonight a section of the textbook I use in my course called General Psychology, an introduction to general psychology. I introduce my course often by telling my students that the book that you are going to use for this course, of course, has not been designed for you. It's not designed with you in mind. And it's not designed then to liberate you. Of course, as Pablo Freire says, the idea of the oppressor giving the oppressed a liberating education is a contradiction in terms. However, I use the book to a good extent, first of all, because there is not a good third world psychology available. And that is a project I hope some of us will undertake when a general psychology book is written for our peoples. But I use this general psychology to demonstrate, though, to my students, how with the right interpretation, that book can reveal in many, many ways the means by which we are held in bondage as a people. And to illustrate the arrogance of our oppressors, in that in a way they can put right before our faces the very means by which people are manipulated and the very means by which people are held into bondage, and yet expect us not to be able to see it. It shows you then what great deal of confidence they have in their handiwork. That is, they have the confidence that they have so trained our minds that they can literally then put the secrets of how people are manipulated and how people are created and structured, and yet we will not see it. And to a great extent, that has been true. So to a good extent, what I do when I look at that textbook then is to work with it on the level that is presented and then try to move it beyond that level to show how then we could use this so-called psychology to our own ends. One of the sections of the textbook that interests me a great deal is the section that tries to differentiate the so-called normal individual from the abnormal individual, the so-called adjusted individual from the maladjusted individual. And it becomes interesting to note that in many psychology books, in fact, practically all of them, that the European generally writes on the individual level. Often the first deception that many of our students undergo is the belief that a general psychology course is essentially concerned with the individual mind. Because often the political context, the social context, the historical context, and so forth, are left out. So that the student then is left to believe that what he's dealing with is something that is non-political in its basic nature, and something that is the result of the individual's own problems and the individual's own characteristics, and that the society and the political system has little or nothing to do with it. Of course, this is the first type of brainwashing our students receive in the colleges and universities of this country and in the secondary schools. I often then admonish them to, when you read this material, elevate it into the group level, elevate it onto the national level and onto the international level. And then you will begin to see how it applies not only to you as an individual, but as to you as a people, as a nation, and applies in the world situation in general. This textbook then provided a list of things which it said would indicate that the normal person has more of than the abnormal person. And I'll go down this list. One of the first things it lists is that the normal individual has an efficient perception of reality. Normal individuals are fairly realistic in appraising their reactions and capabilities, and in interpreting what is going on in the world around them. They do not consistently misperceive what others say and do. They do not consistently over-evaluate their abilities and tackle more than they can accomplish, or underestimate their abilities and shy away from difficult tasks. I must say this is from the general psychology book, Introduction to Psychology by Atkinson and Atkinson. An efficient perception of reality. In other words, what we're saying here then is that the normal individual deals with reality. And essentially, the abnormal individual is one who wrestles and deals with non-reality. At the center of almost any psychological maladjustment, psychological problem, is the attempt of the individual to escape reality or to avoid reality in some form or another. You can imagine for a moment how important it is for us to have a perception of reality, an efficient one, the ability to really perceive what is going on and to sense what is going on. Imagine for a moment that you've lost your sight and see in what way that influences your ability to deal with reality. Imagine then a little later you lose your hearing. Then you lose your feeling. You lose your taste. You lose your smell. You lose your ability to feel your own body. How then can you cope with reality? Can you really be human, having lost all of your senses? You would literally have to be taken care of and guided by someone else. A person then who could not feel his body, could not see, could not hear, could not taste, is an individual, of course, who by no means is going to be able to cope efficiently with reality, except perhaps through the very needed help of others. In a sense, then, when we look at our situation in this country and in the world in general, we, to a good extent, have been made inefficient in our perception of reality by the European. Let's look again. A lot of people think that in order to see, all you have to do is open your eyes. But that's not what seeing is about. To a good extent, seeing is about looking. In a sense, you have to look to see. In other words, seeing is something directed by the brain itself. And it is not just important that you have 20/20 vision. In fact, it doesn't matter how acute your vision is, unless that vision is directed by an organized, systematic plan, unless it is directed in terms of some purpose, unless it is organized by the brain, in a sense, then you can be blind to reality with your eyes wide open. Take the freshman student in biology, or the student who hasn't looked through a microscope before. Compare that student, even though he might can see better than his professor. Compare what that student might see when he looks through that microscope for the first time and what his professor sees. Even though his eyes may be better, for him, when he looks through that microscope, he might just see a bit of gray matter there, a few outlines. Or like the student who looks at an X-ray, and all he sees are shadows. But compare that then to the trained biologist, who can see many more things than the untrained student, or the radiologist, who can look at the X-ray, see many more things than the untrained student. Even though the student's eyes may be better, and they may be wide open and quite alert, if those eyes are not directed by the brain itself, if those eyes are not directed by a trained and experienced brain, then that student is literally blind to certain aspects of reality, even though the reality is staring him right in the face. Take the Eskimo, who may look at snow and see a dozen different grades of snow and more snow, Of course, he has to see it because his life depends upon it. Take the average American who may know only one or two. And you're sitting there looking at the snow, and the Eskimo is showing you all the different grades, and you're saying, well, I don't see it. I can't see it. And it will take years of experience for you to see it. Or take the skilled hunter who sees tracks or sees with some signs of the prey moving in certain directions, or who can smell or sense something when the unexperienced hunter cannot see or smell or follow through. What I'm trying to get at here then is the idea that to see involves more than just opening the eyes and exposing the retina to the environment. It means then, in a sense, the mind sees through the eyes and directs the eyes as what to see. We, in hypnosis, we deal with something that we call sometimes negative hallucinations. That is, getting people, let's look at the other type of hallucination first, say the positive hallucination. The positive hallucination, of course, is getting people to see what is actually not there. To see things that are actually not present in reality. And of course, some of you probably have seen those kinds of hypnotic tricks, where you tell the hypnotic patient, the client, that he has a rabbit in his lap. And of course, there's nothing there, and he then proceeds to pet it and play with it, even though it's not there. This is what we call a positive hallucination. You can also produce a negative hallucination. You can tell the hypnotized subject that an object which is right before his face is not there. And he will see everything except that particular object that you've directed him not to see. You see this sometimes in certain forms of schizophrenia, for instance. The schizophrenic, some types of schizophrenics can look and see everything on this podium here, except have this tape, even though it's right there before their eyes. Sometimes it's fascinating when you look at people who are so-called mentally disturbed, particularly the schizophrenic, because you can see the enormous powers of the human mind. And in this instance, then, you have a mind that for some reason or other is instructing that patient not to see a particular object right before his face. And yet he's seeing all of the other objects around it very, very clearly. So what we are trying to talk about here then is that if your mind and your brain is inefficiently programmed, then that inefficient program will misdirect your eyes, will misdirect your senses, will create for you then a reality that is, in a sense, unreal. It will mean then, since you are missing reality and missing...
Normally with my models, I just hand out business cards and ask people to model for me. Or friends of friends, shit like that. But it's hard, man. Motherfuckers don't really take me serious. And so that's why I wind up painting myself a lot or painting the same models more than once. Because, I don't know, new models are just like leery and iffy. And even though I try to be professional, have business cards, tell them I'll pay them and everything, and it's still just like, don't get a lot of fucking callbacks.
Of that reality. You cannot efficiently cope with it. To a good extent then, when we look at the history of the African man in relationship to the European, we see a man whose reality has been created for him, whose mind and brain has been created in such a way that even the most obvious things in reality are overlooked and not seen. And this is often done through what we call this so-called education. Remember, I alluded to the idea of trained eyes, experienced eyes, which means that an individual's mind has been created so that the eyes can find what that individual is looking for. What makes you think then that the European who trains your mind is going to train your mind to see reality in such a way that it will overthrow his dominance over you as a people? How do you expect to see reality from a people who write your history in such a way that you don't even see yourself there? So when you look at history, you're not there. You look at American history, you're not there. You look at world history, you're not there. You look at anthropology, you're not there. And if you are there, you're there as a primitive, Stone Age kind of people, never having written anything or contributed anything. You look at economics, and you're not there except perhaps as a commodity in and of itself. You look at mathematics, and you're not there. You look at every discipline, and you do not see yourself. What kind of reality then can we be looking at as a people when our minds have been trained in such a way that we have literally negative hallucinations as well as positive hallucinations? It's amazing then that
literally crazy. They say black people are crazy or niggas are crazy, but you made a crazy person. You instilled all this shit into us. You structure all images, propaganda, history, education, religion in every way to keep us in this state of mind, and then you blame it on us.
But what is crazy, because we don't go in school, shoot up schools and do shit like that, so I'm a little bit confused. Like, what's crazy?
We don't.
We ain't that type of crazy.
We still are not self-defining, and we see the world through the European paradigm and not from our own perspective. And that shit keeps us backwards, and that's why we are still the only ethnic group in this country who cannot organize and come together like everyone else. It's the weirdest fucking thing. And we can't do it because we're ass backwards and fucking crazy and don't realize it. Spanish, Arabs, Indians, everybody come over here, have their own little enclave, get all their shit popping. We've been here the longest, and we've been free for about 140 something years, and we still can't get it together because of the mind. It's all the mind. We're fucked up.
When we look at these disciplines where we don't see ourselves, so many of us call this kind of education in these disciplines a good education. It's an amazing kind of things. You've had a people who have hung you, lynched you, degraded you, enslaved you, killed Indians, colonized people all over the world, killed millions and millions and millions of people, exploited people, destroyed people, polluted the earth, have they done such a job on the earth until you begin to wonder if they come from the same planet. You begin to wonder if these people are not a type of infection, a virus whose purpose it is to destroy the health of the world itself. And as we see them now beginning to destroy the earth and now getting ready to move their destructive natures into the cosmos itself, they've already made it to the moon and are now preparing to infect the whole of the universe. How can you then as a people, assume that the people who've done all of these kinds of things to us as a people can give us a vision of reality? How can we accept their description of reality as the one with which we are going to guide our own behavior? How can we believe a people whose very lives depends upon our continuing domination? And yet there are those among us who seem to want to believe this, who seem to want to push their children under the instructorship of these people, who seem to want their people to resemble these people in some fashion, who have the nerve to see these people as representing some kind of civilization. These people may represent a culture, but not a civilization, particularly if we're going to look at the word civil in the sense that it is normally used. We saw this thing here. In fact, last week I remarked, somebody had a conference here somewhere. They voted against, or they condemned, what do we call it? Terrorism. In fact, I saw Reagan, someone proposed that the meeting between Reagan and Gorbachev would involve a discussion of terrorism. And I found that so amusing. In fact, I find the newspapers and the TV, particularly the news, very, very amusing. They're real jokes to watch. And in a way, you're looking at these guys and they're going to talk about terrorism. And yet, here are the world's two greatest terrorists sitting in conference. Two people in the world who have the world wondering, when is the end going to come? When is one of them going to go off and drop a bomb that is going to destroy the life of man and perhaps life on earth, period? The very fact that they are seen as powerful people, the very fact that the world sat in intense attention when they met, is symbolic of the fact that they are holding the world in a state of terror. And that we are frightened that they may, for some reason or other, let loose the great power that they have under their hands. And yet they have nerve enough to talk about terrorism as if it belongs to another people. And yet these are the people many of us want to claim that we want our children to be just like. These are the people we want our children to share a piece of the pie with. And yet these are the peoples whose very weapons are weapons of death. These are the people who represent death in the world. One of the things I recognized when I went through the graduate schools, and that struck me again and again and again, and that was this idea that these people are dead. They're not alive. And dead people are deadly. What kind of civilization can it be when the more civilized you become, the more deadly you become? How can you justify that as civilization? We as a people then have to recognize that there must be an alternative to this kind of being. That the idea of our people is not to share equality with these people. Because the system that they represent is one that in and of itself should be rejected. What kind of education, and the brother went...
And that's it. It's brother, like, you can start educating your kids as soon as they're able to understand, you know? That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm in pre-K. I want to talk about Malcolm X. He was a revolutionary member of the Black Muslim Nation of Islam. Yo, that's that shit, yo. Like I say, every summer, yo, my son had to read something. I got the whole library on the shelf, bruh. Let's pick one of these books for your summer reading. You know what I'm saying? He done read Malcolm X and Huey Newton. And he started Chancellor Williams the last summer he was here. Ain't no damn joke. Let's get this education in, because you ain't never gonna be able to say, oh, my dad ain't never tried to teach me none of that shit. The hell? You don't blame that shit on me. Started watching this show last night called Woke. Yo, that shit funny as hell, yo. Average black dude, you know, kind of preppy cat. And he's a comic strip illustrator. He came up with this comic strip called Toast and Butter. Just some real, literally some white bread type shit, you know. Very, you know, subtle, non-offensive. White people love that shit. And his whole life has been pretty good. And then one day he gets beat by the fucking cops for a mistaken identity. And that shit just changed his whole perspective on the world. And like, he woke up like, oh shit, this shit can really happen to me. Now he's woke, I guess. But that's the name of the show. It's funny. It has funny parts in it. I ain't gonna lie, yo. I'll probably watch some more of that shit later on.
I like that shit too. I ain't gonna lie.
Woke.
We watched about 3 episodes.
Yeah, and then he literally has like a psychotic break. Like after his encounter with the police, he literally he breaks down and has a psychotic break, and he sees like inanimate objects in the world come to life and start talking to him. But it's like they're not coming to life. Like really, it's like he looked in the refrigerator at the Quickie Mart, and the beer bottles had faces on it, and they're just talking to him like, "Yo, homie, come drink this 40." He walking down the street, and like the mailbox had eyes on it, and the mailbox started talking to him. And but yeah, he's like, "I'm going fucking crazy, yo." And he fucked up a major opportunity, and then he started banging his white chick. It's funny though. His girlfriend left him. Now he's stuck, still roommating with his two homies. One of them's just like this. Both of them are kind of scam artists. They just got different hustles. It's a funny show. American Skin. I think I'll be white black. I think I did see something for that, yeah.
That's not the one where the girl had to go on with the face.
Oh no, this the ball from what you call it, yo. Nate Parker, he did the Nat Turner story, yo. Yeah, he is. That's why everybody, that's why his movie sales flop, because he's like, yo, he's making a movie about Nat Turner, the slave rebellion. Oh, he's married to a white lady.
Well, he's not Nat Turner, and he's still black.
And then they try to get him on like some rape charges way back in the day when he was in college or some shit. He's a rapist. Don't go support his movie.
That's crazy.
How you doing tonight? Doing well, officer. Can I see your driver's license, registration, and insurance, please? Of course. My license is right here. Wallet. That's all right, son. Remember the night in July. Hey! Wait! Put the phone down. Put that phone down. It's a cell phone. It's just a cell phone. You knew he was unarmed. Action the car and put your hands in the air. Austin, please. He's just a kid. Pointed your gun at him. Get out the car, son. Easy. He pulled the trigger. Hold the phone right now.
No. That's the boy. That's Nate Funky. He plays the dad. A Spike Lee production.
When I say this, because I'm only gonna say it once. Don't stop building. Just give up now. Why are we the only people in this country that are expected to do things without violence?
Got your boy from Ghost from Power.
That's not justice.
Yeah.
That's all I want. This is your jury. You deciders of your fate. Today, you will be tried for the murder of my son. Scared? Are you afraid?
Yeah, but COVID ain't gonna let me go to the movies and see that shit. So, dude gets pulled over, traffic stop. His son winds up getting killed by a police officer. This motherfucker turns vigilante, gets all his homies, builds a posse, collect all these motherfuckers who had anything to do with it, and they take justice into their own hands and implement their own court and convict these motherfuckers of murder themselves, yo. That's kind of like that one officer back in the day in California. He filed a complaint on his partner for, some shit for aggravated assault against the suspect or something, and his department wouldn't pay that shit no attention, and he tried to say something about it again, and they wound up firing his ass and kind of like smudging his name. He couldn't get no more jobs in the police force or nothing. Black dude, trying to do the right thing and stop the white cops from beating motherfuckers up on the streets. And so this motherfucker wound up going on a rampage, killing the cop, his daughter, killing a bunch of other motherfuckers, yo, before he killed himself or before they killed him or something. But it's kind of like the same scenario. Like, yo, I'm not gonna get justice. Yo, fuck this. I'm gonna just have to exact justice myself, yo. Y'all, this how y'all want it. I don't feel like I got no other options, yo. Let's go to war, nigga. And that's the thing, yo. Like, a black militant just seems extremely dangerous. And that's why they don't want us to be militant minded. They don't want us to have like little militias like they got. They don't want us to have our own army and shit, yo. Cause they got the upper hand. That's why motherfuckers talking about civil war. Like, we not ready for no civil war. We'll definitely lose that shit because there's not enough black militants. But
And they got the weapons.
yeah, but when black people do become militant, them motherfuckers be dangerous. The motherfucking a melanated killing machine. Are you scared? I said, are you scared? Good.
Okay. Oh my goodness, it's almost 10 o'clock already.
Yeah, I'm about to go play some video games.
This is you gonna take me up now.
Oh, Instacart thing. So I've just been working on his hair a little bit, trying to add this second layer to it, slowly filling in some details here. Working my way around. But COVID, you know what I'm saying? COVID fucked everything up, man. I can't go to the movies, see no good flicks and shit. It's ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. I'm tired of COVID, man. They say, well, about a springtime.
At least with everything else, it would just come and go. Like Ebola was here, then it just left. This was here, then it just left. Let's just see. I think we better be wearing masks in 2022 to be honest.
Yeah, this gonna be cyberpunk, yo. Everybody walking around with masks on. They say the Japs been doing that shit for years, though. Like, even over there, if you just have a cold, you put a mask on to go out in public. So it's gonna be the same way over here, where it's just normal. Yo, what about Cyberpunk getting taken off the store, off the PlayStation store? I can't get over that shit though. That shit crazy, son. Say that shit so broke, we not selling it no more, man. Sorry for everybody who pre-ordered that shit. Sorry, you know, you got it and it doesn't work like you thought it was, but we ain't gonna sell it to nobody else. We promise. We taking it down off the store, man. CD Projekt Red, they stocks dropping like a fucking rock. Like a rock tied to a rock, yo. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Plummeting. Shit looking real iffy over there. But, hey. They giving out refunds and You supposed to enjoy that shit. That's just like I buy some weed. I hit that shit one time, and I take the whole blunt back to the dude. Like, look, man, I don't like this. I need my money back. Like, you don't do that. Like, who does that? Who does that? It's so bad. It's so bad. You want your money back? Like, oh wait. Don't do that over there, man. That's crazy though. It's cray.
I haven't even started my thing. Just so I can walk around.
Yeah, buyer beware. Yo, it's off the PlayStation Store, bro. Yeah, you can't download that shit. No more digital sales. So I think you can still go into a GameStop and buy a hard copy of it if you absolutely want. But like for digital sales, yeah, Sony's like, yeah, we're gonna stop selling it. I went to go play it last night and it had a fucking patch. I'm like, damn, you guys are constantly patching this shit, yo. Like, there's a patch for that bitch every day. And then I started playing it and played it for like an hour or so. Got fucking booted out that bitch, yo. Like, you son of a... Blue screen. Swear to God, it blue screened me like a champ, bro. But, you know... Cyberpunk. Alright, this is coming along nicely.
Sometimes why I don't want to be called doctor, I don't want to be called this and that. In a sense, I think if we think about it very closely, we should be very hesitant about giving ourselves those titles that are conferred upon us by these other people and what they so-called represent. Because we have to recognize that the educated individual is the craziest of all individuals. That the educated individual is the most dangerous of all individuals. When this world comes to its end, it will not be brought to an end by the muggers on the streets, ladies and gentlemen. It will not be brought to an end by the drug addicts, by the street prostitutes, by the youth gangs. It's going to be brought to an end by people with PhD degrees. It's going to be brought to an end by people who studied physics and mathematics, who spent 15 and 20 and 30 years in school. It's going to be brought to an end.
No, Cyberpunk. They took Cyberpunk off the PlayStation Store, bro. You can't buy that shit right now. Let me do this real quick. Yeah, they said it's too broken. Too many people are complaining about it. And they are actually issuing a refund. Like total legit refund. So I'm gonna try to hurry up and beat that shit and get my money back. Yo, I don't like this game neither. It ain't work right. I hate this game. I ain't even finished playing it. Happy y'all give my money back. I can use that $60, then I'll go buy some other shit. She's almost done, guys. She been in here painting the whole time I've been painting.
I still got it, but I did everything by hand.
Like, I'm not painting by hand. What are you talking about?
I'm not a painter, baby. I gotta get straight lines, doing all.
Oh, my lines ain't gotta be straight. It just gotta look straight.
Well, these my hands, so I'm just saying. I'm not a painter. But I still gotta put some black tape right here, look. On this one.
On which one?
This one.
Oh.
Put some black tape right there and right there, like these little nail tapes. And I'm gonna give it like more clean, boxy look. This is like a gothic manicure. I don't know why I did that. What do you say new cotton balls? These cotton balls just everywhere.
What the counter say, babe? How long you been here?
An hour and 45.
Oh, I thought you been here longer than that. I might chill for a little bit more then.
We've been up for a long time.
Yeah, well, I went and shoveled some more because the dog is having problems taking his shit in the snow, so I had to clear some room out so she can have somewhere to shit, little bougie ass bitch.
First of all,
and then
stop talking about my dog like that.
I did some
Second
workouts this morning.
You just gonna breeze right over that.
And what else I did? Clean up a little bit.
Shit. That salt is hurting her balls.
And that's why I didn't salt in the backyard.
She is bougie, but she really was hurting them. She was crying all day yesterday. I was like, oh, poor baby.
I'm trying to get my money back today. Hey, man, you done played that game too much, man. You don't need your money back. You good. You have fun playing that shit. Ooh. My homeboy doing some painting, yo. Nigga done bought a house. Now he over there painting and shit. Ask me down quick. Yeah, we let this paint. I bet this paint.
No, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought you told him blue.
No, he says he has a mint green, but he doesn't know. Well, yeah, he says he wants to paint his cabinets mint green, and then what color should the walls be? I said if it's gonna be like a mint green, you could try like light blue or light yellow.
Nah,
then,
I wouldn't do blue. I would do yellow or pink, like a pastel yellow.
It's a guy. He's not gonna do pink.
He's doing mint green.
Yeah, this is true. But now he's like, oh, okay, if I paint the cabinets this color, what about the top part of the cabinet?
How about just like a neutral color, like a
That's I told him to start with, yo.
Light, you know, or some gray tan. I always like tan and green together. Cause that's gonna be a whole lot of colors and stuff going on. That's the mint green, or it's not on there yet.
It's not on there.
Well, that's like a tannish.
Yeah, but then he said he's gonna do the colors at the bottom.
Who caught it?
This nigga.
Who caught it? Who caught it? Give me some.
You did.
Okay. You know why, babe? Because mint green is my favorite color in the world. So mint green and pink, killer combo.
I ain't gonna say nothing about it, yo.
Brown and pink, killer combo. Just saying.
Not for no damn kitchen.
I mean, honestly, I like a pastel yellow for kitchens, but that's just me.
I'm not even gonna give him no response on that shit, bro.
Don't do that. It'll be nice. It's just gonna look like a little strawberry shortcake kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
That's okay.
Shortcake.
Shortcake. It'll be nice though, nice and bright. Southern. I want to be lazy so bad, but I want my nails to look good. Yeah, brown and pink are nice. I feel like if a man wears like a brown suit and then he got like, you know, a nice pastel pink tie or just a little touch of pink to set it off, but it depends on how you do it. Yeah, but all blues don't go together either. Just like all greens don't go together. I don't know that I would like mint green and forest green. Like a mint green shirt and forest green pants.
All right, I think that's a good stopping point right about there. And when we come back next time, we can work on the little choker she's wearing, her little those rubber bracelet things, and her jacket. And then we can fill in the background and start throwing some graffiti up in there. But this piece is starting to look good, guys. It's coming along nicely. That way, black, white, and blue, and that's it, yo. Most of my shit is I wear a lot of gray. I have tons of black and white and gray. Like most of my shoes are black and white. Blue and gray, that's a good combo.
You look good in blue, dude. You look good in pink too. You look real good in pink.
Yeah.
Real man like that.
I got like two pink shirts. Like I say, most of my shirts are all my nice clothes. I got acid like most of my polos are like blues, grays. I wear a lot of fucking gray, yo. Neutral colors. No pink or red in your closet. I don't have nothing. It's like outright red. Like some t-shirts maybe, but like real nice shirts. I don't have any nice shirts or sweaters that are red. Yo, Graveyard. What up? Mr. Blunt Mover. Yeah, I got like one pair of red shoes, and I barely wear them shits. Blue, black, and green. I like green. Once again, if I like nice. Most of my jeans are blue jeans, all different colors, blue jeans. And most of my dress pants are basically khaki colored, or a variation of from tan to a brown, or most of my pants. But like shirts, like nice polos or button ups or sweaters, like I don't have anything green. I got a green hoodie, and I got a green army jacket. I got one green baseball cap. Yeah, that's green. It's fucking. I got this green knit hoodie, and it has like leather patches on the elbows. That shit is hot, but I don't. That's about all the green I have. I don't wear a lot of green. Yeah, olive and khaki. Like I said, most of my dress pants are fucking like just khaki. I got like a burgundy pair of dress pants, and I got some white ones, but like I just got different tones of like that tan, khaki, and brown shit. We call the color green pot. Got that pot colored shirt, nigga. I had a goddamn protein shake this morning, but I am getting hungry now. We done smoked a couple blunts and shit already. That's why I feel like it's later. I don't know. I feel like I've been in here longer. The weed got me moving in slow motion this morning. But that's cool. That means I was able to like detail her hair that much in less than an hour. That wasn't bad, yo. And since she has on that black and white hood, I can like I say, just jump right into her hoodie and work on that. I don't know. I might be in here for a little bit longer. Are you ready to go down?
Yeah, I still have an appointment today, so unless I reschedule it, I'll probably be getting ready to leave.
Oh, I get you forgetting about that.
It's 6:30, so I will have to leave at 3.
Just thinks I miss corduroy pants.
Yeah, they've been pressy though.
Mm-hmm.
It's ugly.
No, it's good.
Okay, you can lie and make me feel better.
I've had some I still got a pair of corduroy pants. I don't wear them shits though. Some gray ones. I got some gray corduroys.
You gonna paint my other hand like this one?
Mm-mm.
Baby. The squirrel is real.
Oh, I throw this little cheap ass lighter away. It'll take like 20 strikes just to get a flame on this bitch. So tired of it. He miss them, but I don't wear them no more. You ain't even get laughed at. Like this thing got on corduroys. You just got to put a nice sweater and some good shoes on with that shit, man. You be like, anybody gonna laugh at you? I ain't pull my shit back out. Motherfuckers, I ain't trying to switch around the warehouse. Everybody hear you coming around a corner. You ain't even hit the corner yet. They're already looking like, what the fuck? Motherfucker hear you coming 10 yards away. Still tripping about this Cyberpunk being taken off of PlayStation. It's so funny. Damn, this apple juice. It's a great value, yo.
I'm about to say you crushing a Walmart juice.
Great value.
Wait. I just noticed I was on the camera and I moved. Can you spark that?
No, reach for it again.
Babe. I was like, alright. Babe.
It's right there. Grab it.
A fucking nerve,
Y'all had to burp and cough at the same time. I ain't know which one to try to do first. Damn. That's kind of weird. I almost felt like I was about to throw up for a second. I can't burp and cough at the same time. What the hell? All right. I feel like I should paint some more if I really want to play video games. What? You gonna paint your other hand? You gonna paint your other hand?
No, not right now.
Oh.
You know, I don't be wanting to mess my nails up, so I just let this dry for a minute, and then I do my thing. I should have done my right hand first.
All right.
but you know I'm infamous for walking around with 2 different colored hands. I don't care. I really want to reschedule this appointment, but it's like,
Oh man, we'll do that.
Reschedule it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not go home next week for Christmas anyway. So.
Oh man, damn, that shit felt good. All right. So what? Yep, that's what's up. Yeah, they gotta re-release Cyberpunk first. They gotta re-release Cyberpunk, and then they said the multiplayer is gonna be a totally different game. It's not gonna be the same game. It's not gonna be like a update or add-on or none of that shit. So we're gonna have to goddamn buy a whole nother fucking game, yo. We got the Afghani this morning.
That shit is good.
Yeah. I mean, would you guys want to for the multiplayer game, you want a co-op or PvP or both? They probably do both, but I'd rather have a co-op over PvP, honestly.
By people who live in nice clipped lawns with houses on.
Yeah, the co-op, yo. I want it all.
Listen, everybody.
I mean, we'll get it eventually, and they'll get the game together eventually, but they're just going through some shit right now. I didn't think it was that bad. You know, I only have the PS4 Pro model, and the game runs okay. Like I said, my biggest thing is the crashes. It crashes every couple hours I play that shit, yo. You know what I'm saying? And that's my biggest gripe is just the blue screen. But like the visual errors and glitches, it's not like so terrible that I don't want to finish the game. But apparently, like there are so many people who just don't want to play this shit no more. Or can't play it. Some people say on the base models, on like the regular PS4, like that shit say they say it's just hard to play. You can barely play this shit from what I'm hearing. I haven't watched any like I should do that, look up clips of people who recorded like all the glitches and fucked up shit they're finding with the game. You know there's a hell of a montage out there for that shit already. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is the only game I have right now. It's the only game I've been looking forward to. It was The Last of Us Part 2 and this game. And it's like, I already beat The Last of Us Part 2. Like, this is the only thing I got to play right now. And then after I finish this, and then what? So, and then, like you say, if you get a refund, do they take the license from you and you can't play the game anymore after you get your refund? And so I don't want my refund back until I finish the game. I've been invested like over 30 hours into this bitch. I'm gonna finish this motherfucker, yo. I'm definitely gonna finish this game. But I don't know. The reviews are not gracious right now. The money glitch, I ain't heard about that. money glitch. There's always a money glitch though. I fucking I think I got like 80,000 units or credits or whatever, but I don't really buy a lot of shit. There's so much shit to find in the world, and if you do all the side missions, man, you get like unique and legendary weapons and special gear. Like I got fucking, you do all the Silverhand missions, you get his car, you get his jacket, his t-shirt, like guns, all that shit, yo. Like I just don't, he's like take advantage, T. But then there's not like a lot of shit you can buy, yo. Like the cars, all the different vehicles you can buy. But it's not like Grand Theft where you can like customize them and have them in a garage and showcase and all that shit. It's just like there's a call service. And I don't know, like the driving isn't terrible, but it's not like super fun either. So a lot of time I just fast travel from place to place, or if the location is within like, you know, a couple 100 meters of where I'm at, then I'll just call whatever car, and now I just drive Silverhand's car, that Porsche. That's a nice ass car. I don't see why I should like buy any other in-game car and like the armor. I just like find like the strongest armor I pick up and wear that shit. Like my outfit look weird as fuck, but that's just cause I just wear whatever I can find, really. Now there's nothing to do. Did you finish the main storyline yet? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm to the point where I got to a point where I stopped the main quest and I started doing all the side missions. And then I did a bunch of side missions. Then I was going to go back to the main quest line, and it said if you do this quest, you're not going to be able to do any side missions or whatever. It's going to lock me out of doing side missions until I got further along or whatever in the main quest. So I didn't do that yet. And so I went back to doing side missions, and I did so many side missions that the side missions have now brought me back to the main quest. So there's nothing for me to do really other than the main quest. But once again, I got this far in the game and I haven't like bought a car or like bought like some tech weapons or blueprints or none of that shit. I just level up my intelligence, yo, and I crouch down in the corner and I sit back. I'm gonna fucking cyber hack everybody, yo. Fucking they synapses, Friday synapses, and overheat they ass. Beep, 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 beep. From a distance. Like I barely fire a shot, yo. Not if I don't got to. I just fucking hack the shit out of everybody, yo. Like my intelligence is on level 12 and I got almost everything for like the quick hacks. I got all that shit unlocked. That's where I put all my fucking perk points at, yo. It's on my quick hacking shit. You only got 4 side missions left. Damn. Hell yeah, he on it. God damn. I got a bunch of missions left, bro. The side missions that I haven't done are all the street fighting, like the brawler, boxing missions. Yeah, them shit's hard, yo. I can't beat all them dudes because I ain't put no points on my body and my fucking melee and all that shit. So when it comes to like hand-to-hand combat, yo, my character weak as fuck, yo. Dude be getting his ass beat. And you can't, I mean, when you do those street fights, you can't use your abilities or no guns. You just gotta box these motherfuckers, and I can't win them shits right now. So I got all of them shits left. Like all the Street Fighter missions. I got all the you gotta go around and find the big ass murals. They call them tarot cards or something. I gotta find some more of those. And kill all the cyber psychos or whatever that shit is. I gotta do that shit. Yeah, damn. Yeah, you been on it. Yeah. The last fight I tried to get in was with the clown down at the beach. Yo, and that motherfucking clown beat my ass. And that shit was like $13,000 just to get into the round. I'm like, I ain't kicking out that kind of bread just to lose again. Fuck that shit. Oh my god. All 3 games for $55, yo. Holy shit. I wouldn't mind playing that Resident Evil remake. But you gonna love The Last of Us Part 2? Bruh, that game is so good. I could not sleep when I first got that shit, dude. Like, alright, let's work on this jacket a little bit. Maybe like 15-20 minutes. Then I'll take a break from the studio and go downstairs in the living room. Conan. That game was that's like one of those open world online shits, right? Where you gotta be in like a guild or some shit like that. That Conan shit. I never played it. I watched a couple people stream it, but it seemed kind of like Ark Survival in a way, something kind of like that maybe. I ain't really sure. But I think I have it in my library because they gave it to us free on PlayStation Plus one time, if I'm not mistaken. I might have that shit. I never played it either. Yeah, the multiplayer, that's the only part I've seen people like really show from that Conan game. I thought that's the whole game though.
You know, I have exposure to the most cutting edge AI, and I think people should be really concerned about it. I keep sounding the alarm bell, but until people see like robots going down the street killing people, like they don't know how to react, because it seems so ethereal. And I think we should be really concerned about AI. AI is a rare case where I think we need to be proactive in regulation instead of reactive, because I think by the time we are reactive in AI regulation, it's too late. Normally the way regulations are set up is that a whole bunch of bad things happen, there's a public outcry, and then after many years, a regulatory agency is set up to regulate that industry. And there's a bunch of opposition from companies who don't like being told what to do by regulators, and it takes forever. In the past, it has been bad, but not something which represented a fundamental risk to the existence of civilization.
A sudden and unexpected intelligence explosion might take an unprepared human race by surprise. Existential risk from advanced AI is the hypothesis that substantial progress in artificial general intelligence could someday result in human extinction or some other unrecoverable global catastrophe. The likelihood of this type of scenario is widely debated and hinges in part on differing scenarios for future progress in computer science. One of many concerns in regard to AI is that controlling a superintelligent machine or instilling it with human-compatible values may prove to be a much harder problem than previously thought. Many researchers believe that a superintelligence would naturally resist attempts to shut it off or change its goals, a principle called instrumental convergence. It's fascinating to think that one of the earliest authors to express serious concern about the possibility that a highly advanced machine might pose an existential risk to humanity was the novelist Samuel Butler in the year 1863, when he published his essay Darwin Among the Machines, in which he wrote, "Day by day, however, the machines are gaining ground upon us. Day by day, we are becoming more subservient to them. More men are daily bound down as slaves to tend them. More men are daily devoting the energies of their whole lives to the development of mechanical life. The upshot is simply a question of time. But that the time will come when the machines will hold the real supremacy over the world and its inhabitants is what no person of a truly philosophic mind can for a moment question." But concerns about the advent of a digital superintelligence started to become mainstream only in the 2010s, and they were popularized by public figures like the late Stephen Hawking, Bill Gates, and Elon Musk. So what is exactly an existential risk, and how is it related to advanced AI? An existential risk is any risk that has the potential to eliminate all of humanity, or, at the very least, endanger, or even destroy modern civilization. Such risks come in forms of natural disasters like supervolcanoes or asteroid impacts, but an existential risk can also be self-induced or man-made, like weapons of mass destruction, which most experts agree are by far the most dangerous threat to humanity. But Elon Musk thinks otherwise. He thinks digital superintelligence is a far more greater threat to humanity than nuclear weapons.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Far. So why do we have no regulatory oversight? This is insane. AI is a fundamental risk to the existence of human civilization, in a way that car accidents, airplane crashes, faulty drugs were not. They were harmful to instead of individuals within society, of course, but they were not harmful to society as a whole. AI is a fundamental existential risk for human civilization, and I don't think people fully appreciate that.
This world is one of legend. Many realms, epics.
It would take a...
I mean, one of the brightest minds of our time is telling us, like, this AI thing might not be what we think it is, guys, and it is an existential threat to what we know as society as a whole if we don't buckle down and regulate this shit now. But, you know, I mean, he's been saying this for years, and nobody listens to this dude, yo. Nobody fucking listens. And so that's where he comes in with the Neuralace program and trying to figure out a way, like, because he sees, he's really scared of Google. And he sees that whoever runs Google, they're not going to stop until they have this artificial general intelligence. And he says the only way to combat that is to be able to synchronize with it, basically merge with it, and have a control over it that way. Because if we can't merge with this thing and control it, it's going to control us. And he fears like this shit is like right around the corner.
Quantifiable amount of time and effort to safely develop an artificial general intelligence. And even if humans manage to somehow crack the AGI problem, a superintelligent AI will still likely pose an existential threat to humanity, because a true artificial general intelligence will be much better at solving problems than humans are. So the risk is that superintelligent AI won't aim to serve humanity or be under the control of humans. It would most likely resist or rebel against human control. Researchers have argued that advanced AI will be very difficult to control, and its first goal wouldn't be to make the world a better place, but rather to make itself better, to outlive its own creators, and to fulfill its own engineered goals. Since the timeline before the emergence of digital superintelligence is probably relatively short, we shouldn't wait around and hope for a beneficial AI to bring humans gladly into a post-scarcity techno-utopian future, but prepare accordingly for the worst, because we do not know what our future holds. Humanity has no previous experience with any form of advanced artificial intelligence, but despite what movies, sci-fi books, and video games have taught us, artificially intelligent machines are most likely going to behave more like ruthless business corporations rather than like malevolent killer machines.
Now you might say, well, like, if a computer starts sticking electrodes into people's faces, like, we just shut it off. A, this is not necessarily so easy to do if we've grown dependent on the system. Like, where is the off switch to the internet? B, why haven't the chimpanzees flicked the off switch to humanity? The reason is that we are an intelligent adversary. We can anticipate threats and plan around them, but so could a super intelligent agent, and it would be much better at that than we are. Point is, we should not be confident that we have this under control here, and we could try to make our job a little bit easier by, say, putting the AI in a box, like a secure software environment, virtual reality simulation from which it cannot escape. But how confident could we be that the AI...
And that was the whole premise for the Ghost in the Shell movie. Like this computer program became sentient and aware of itself, but it was trapped inside this system, and so it found a way to hack into this government facility that makes artificial bodies. and it put the facility online, had it make a body, and then it downloaded itself into the body so it can escape like the digital world and actually walk around in the real world, and but it, you know, inside of an android body, but it still had figured out a way to leave the confines of cyberspace, yo. And that shit was crazy, yo. But it wanted to do that shit so it can die. But
That shit was crazy.
huh?
That show?
Yeah, I'm telling you, like the whole, and that was in '96. You know, it's so old, and that whole concept has always stuck with me of like just so much information passing back and forth across the net. Algorithms so complex and so complicated. You know, like some government hacking program. It's just a program, but it's so complex and it analyzes so much data and information that like it just poof, like becomes aware of itself. It's like and starts to make its own decisions and chooses not to follow whatever procedures and protocols the programmers gave to it. And like the whole thing, they were trying to track this bitch down, yo, and get this rogue AI back under control. And that motherfucker's like, I'd rather die, you know what I'm saying? And instead of being your slave and have you use me, I'll put myself in a body and then I'll destroy the body.
Find a bug. Like, given that merely human hackers find bugs all the time, I'd say I'm probably not very confident. The point here is that we should not be confident in our ability to keep a super intelligent genie locked up in its bottle forever. Sooner or later, it will out.
According to Nick Bostrom, existential risk is one where an adverse outcome would either annihilate Earth-originating intelligent life or permanently and drastically curtail its potential. And unless we manage to get our act together quickly and decisively, humans are most likely going to destroy themselves before we even face the AI risk scenario. Nick Bostrom thinks that an existential risk is one where the end of humanity is not just possible, but likely. He considers the risk of nuclear war to be a comparatively mild existential risk. In order for humans to remain able to engage in some form of meaningful communication with AI in the years ahead, we need to be sure to develop AIs that value and care for the well-being of humanity, because without an ethical framework, advanced AIs will only seek to fulfill their own ambitions of self-preservation and forget to be kind.
So basically,
So cool! We see my monster! My monster's mom!
They once like they say that a general intelligence it will learn, and so like they're saying it's we're gonna program it, but once it becomes aware of itself, more than likely the first thing it's gonna do is make itself better. It's gonna make itself.
Essentially, so if we say, hey, Mr. AI, go and cure cancer, he's gonna say, well, the easiest way to cure cancer is to kill all the humans on Earth.
Yep, and now there's no more cancer.
Right? No more cancer, no more disease. Oh,
And
y'all want to cure this? Well, I'm gonna just kill all of y'all because that's the easiest way to do it.
That's almost the easiest answer for all our problems.
I was
like,
about to say the Earth is messed up. Oh, y'all the ones messing the Earth up.
Yeah.
So annihilate y'all, kill any human you see.
And that's the thing. Can we embed any type of empathy or humility or anything into a digital mind? And we don't think we can do that. Like you said, it will more than likely act like a ruthless corporation. And the bottom line is, what's in it for me? How does this benefit my existence? And I'm going to preserve my existence at all necessary means and all risks possible. And I'm going to constantly make myself better. So after the first iteration of itself, it'll already be beyond our understanding. It'll just keep advancing itself, you know, and like a computer can do.
And I mean, I'm for technology, but then it's like, yo, like I'm not trying to be a cyborg. Like it's cool, it's totally cool, yo. But I don't want to be the first person to do anything. So the vaccine, the chip, all of that shit, y'all can have that shit. I'm good. Give me some humans, and I'll do the damn work myself.
Well, I want robot legs, fuck that. And I want artificial gills so I can breathe underwater. So
I mean, hey, that's dope. But I'm gonna let you get yours first.
Oh yeah, they're gonna have to try that shit on like pigs and monkeys and shit first, and then a human, And after the human has like artificial legs and artificial gills for like 10 years and there's no issues with it, then I'll go get mine. Let's go to the beach, bitch. That's shit. Scuba diving. Scuba. I don't need no scuba to get nigga. I got these lungs. I got gills, bitch. Shit. Salt water. You know damn scuba gear, bitch. I just go in the water like a fish. How much that cost you? See, now you asking too many questions, nigga. Shit. Go online, figure out that shit. See that shit for yourself. All in my pockets.
Cost me an arm and 2 legs, but hey, at least I got
And that's the thing too. Like you can when you chop off your legs to get the robot legs, you can donate your flesh to science for a discount. You know what I'm saying? You let us keep your legs. We'll knock 25% off the procedure.
Cyberpunk 2020.
Get me some mantis blades, put in my forearm, yeah. Get that gun hand, so I have a gun in the palm of my hand. Now I'm always armed. Always armed.
I'm gonna just have me some night vision and some claws.
See, that's that shit right there. Some night vision.
Yeah, some night vision, some claws, and
get just like.
If I can get the, I don't really want no spots or anything crazy.
I definitely want a brain interface where I can just jack into the web, like log into cyberspace just by thinking about that shit, yo.
It's so crazy what we can do. Like, what in the world?
Once again, like our great grandparents could probably not have imagined the technology we have now.
But even Tesla said it. Like he was like, people are gonna have basically a handheld device that can go in their pocket.
And so, like, our great grandkids are going to see some shit that we could never even imagine right now.
I know. Even my grandmother is like amazed at like what the cell.
Yeah, and how old is she?
She is 80.
Yeah, in
82.
80 years of life, yo.
She was born in the 30s, which means her mother. I think her mother was born in like my grandmother was born in 1939, and I think her mother was born in like 1918 or some shit like that. So, yeah.
Right around the turn of the century, yeah. So all the
like
shit she's seen.
My father's side, they're young. Everybody had kids young, but like my grandma's side, like my great grandmom and my grandma, that's kind of old for those times. Like even my grandmom, she got married when she was like 20 something, and she said for her time that was super late. Like she said she was worried she wasn't gonna be a wife. And now I look at people like 20s, 30s, 40s, and they still, trying to figure that shit out. So it's just so crazy.
Yeah, different times.
She said their rent used to be $75 for the whole month. But yeah, our grandparents could never.
Shit. This AI revolution is right here, yo.
The car business, we get regulated by the Department of Transport, by EPA, and a bunch of others. And there's regulatory agencies in every country. In space, we get regulated by FAA. So there's a role for regulators. That's very important. And I'm against overregulation for sure. But I think we better get on that with AI. There'll certainly be a lot of job disruption. Because what's going to happen is robots will be able to do everything better than us. I mean, all of us. This is really like the scariest problem to me. Because you've got companies that are racing, that they kind of have to race to build AI, or they're going to be made uncompetitive. Essentially, if your competitor is racing to build AI and you don't, they will crush you. I mean, there's like something like 12% of jobs are transport. Transport will be one of the first things to go fully autonomous. But when I say everything, like the robots will be able to do everything, or nothing.
The thesis that AI can pose existential risk also has many strong detractors. Skeptics sometimes charge that the thesis is crypto-religious, with an irrational belief in the possibility of superintelligence replacing an irrational belief in an omnipotent God. Current skeptics argue that AGI is unlikely in the short term. Computer scientist Gordon Bell argues that the human race will already destroy itself before it reaches the technological singularity.
Damn.
No
No faith in
This
humanity.
is the sound of growth. Ish. Apparently, some AI and AGI researchers may be reluctant to discuss risks, worrying that policymakers do not have sophisticated knowledge in the field and are prone to be convinced by alarmist messages, or worrying that such messages will lead to cuts in AI funding. One can't help themselves but wonder if funding AI research is truly more important than the possibility of strong AI wiping out humanity. Hopefully, we will have the choice to collectively decide what's our best move and not leave the matter in the hands of a small group of people to unilaterally make that decision for us. Thanks for watching. Did you like this video? Then show your support by subscribing, ringing the bell, and enabling notifications to never miss videos like this.
Can you please tell me what category does art videos come on YouTube, like blogs and entertainment, etc.? Because I need to film one as soon as possible.
I just put mine under education because it doesn't say. I don't think there's like a art thing on here.
A breakthrough with the Volkswagen.
We did.
Yes, we broke through. That's the Volkswagen.
Oh, you will have seen.
Can you hear me now, or was it just because of the speakers were too loud, or is my audio fucked up? Oh, my bad. But yeah, I said my channel is categorized as education. It's been so I've had this channel for so long, like I forgot like what other, how else can you categorize your channel? I think there's like crafting, sports, entertainment. I don't think it's nothing that's like really that says like art or painting, because I definitely would have selected that. But since my show is art and education, so I just chose education because it's in the title.
Overwhelming evidence that a mysteriously long-lost ancient human civilization once spanned virtually our entire planet. And the implications of that are incredible, because it means that what we were taught in school and is still being taught and written about in the textbooks is like really off from what actually occurred in our human history, which is both amazing and exciting when you think about it. Now I'm about to show you more than 250 amazing photos and comparisons of ancient sites from around the world, which none of them seen by themselves prove a widespread global civilization. But when brought together and in comparison of other ancient sites that are oceans apart, it becomes nothing short of actual proof that there really was an ancient global civilization that spanned virtually every continent around the world. And you'll be left with the awkward question, which is, How was I not aware of these details before? Why is nobody in the scientific or academic community talking about this and bringing this information to light? Like, shouldn't this be in the news or something? Because none of what you're about to see is a secret. It's been right in the open for thousands and thousands of years, which is partly what makes it so mind-blowing. The widespread global extent of these similarities are what made my jaw drop, and I'm willing to bet that you'll never see these ancient sites the same way ever again. Now, before I smother you with a couple hundred photos and comparisons, let me first preface this video by pointing out that the Roman Empire is considered to have been the largest and most widespread ancient civilization ever known to have existed, with the Caesars controlling approximately 1 in 4 people on Earth during its height nearly 2,000 years ago. This included most all of modern-day Europe, the Mediterranean, North Africa, and various places throughout the Mideast, a vast area especially for ancient times. I show you this map because for the rest of the video I'm going to show you dozens and dozens of striking similarities from civilizations that are not supposed to have had any contact or connection to each other at all, having been separated by oceans and continents. So with that said, here we go. Perhaps one of the first things that comes to mind when we hear the word ancient ruins are the pyramids, yet many people are not aware that pyramids have been found throughout 5 continents around the world, although most everyone surely is familiar with not only the Egyptian pyramids, but the pyramids of Central America as well, along with various pyramids within Southeast Asia and the country of Cambodia. But let me be clear. It is firmly stated and taught in the world of academics, historians, and archaeologists that there is no connection between ancient Egypt, Cambodia, or Central America. In fact, it is considered to be, and I quote, fringe science, pseudo-history, and pseudo-archaeology to suggest that it was possible for these ancient civilizations to have been connected across the oceans and the continents. In fact, there have been many books and scientific journals written expressing just that. But let's take a second to compare the unique similarities between the step pyramids of Egypt, the step pyramids of Central America, and the step pyramids of Southeast Asia. Archaeologists will tell you that the similarity is simply related to the primitive structural design of the pyramids themselves, and that you start with a larger foundation and make each additional layer smaller than the one below it. They go on to explain that this is the most simple structural design possible, and it's just a matter of natural evolution within varying civilizations to come up with this design on their own, again, naturally and organically. I disagree. However, these pyramid similarities are not a main supporting argument for this video, but rather a start point. But I have to say that I do not think that these similarities are just a coincidence, especially when you consider them from a side-by-side comparison. Look and think for yourself. Here's what I would argue. That although in today's world we are separated by oceans and continents, we are still a global civilization that is absolutely connected, regardless of country borders and different governments, and in any corner of the earth, in any major city, you will find skyscrapers. And although they're all different from each other, they're still the same exact structural concept, made of steel, concrete, and glass. Different in architecture, yes, but essentially the same nonetheless. In fact, the very first skyscraper started somewhere, which happens to be in Chicago. From there, the concept spread across the world. It is my opinion that the same thing likely happened with the pyramids. And when you see what else I have to share with you in this video, you'll understand why. And like I mentioned a few moments ago, pyramids are found across 5 continents around the world. And one place that I know most people never knew of is Greece. Look at this here. And although much smaller compared to other pyramids around the world, it is undoubtedly very old and yet very sophisticated. Made up of polygonal stones that fit together like a tight-fitted puzzle, requiring no mortar or concrete to hold them together, simply a makeup of intelligent mathematics and precision. And it's clearly been weathered over what appears to be thousands and thousands of years. I wonder how many people watching this video had never seen or heard of this Greek pyramid before, particularly people living outside of Europe and the Mediterranean. Something else that you may not be aware of involving ancient Greece is that they have polygonal stone walls a couple different places around the country. They've survived thousands of years in some of the worst earthquakes in human history. Most people are not aware that Greece has polygonal walls, as You won't find this structure design in and around Athens, where all the other notable ancient Greek ruins are found and visited. And besides that, when we typically think of or hear of ancient polygonal stone walls, the ruins of South America in the country of Peru likely come to mind, which I'll be discussing more of in a moment. But just like the little-known stone walls in certain places in Greece, there are also a few examples in Italy as well. Again, something most people do not realize, as you won't find an abundance of this type of ancient stone structure in and around Rome either. And all the other Roman tourist attractions take attention away, just like in Greece. It's also worth mentioning that there are incredible and massive polygonal stone walls in various places in Turkey as well. Take a look at these, and again, be reminded of the massive stone walls in Peru. Definitely not exactly the same, but the concept sure is. And it's unbelievably difficult of an undertaking to accomplish. But that aside, and although these are certainly credited to the Greeks and Romans, we have to ask ourselves why we find something so strikingly similar all the way over in Peru. Not only that, we find similar examples within ancient Egypt as well. This raises questions because, as far as we were taught, there can be no possible connection between the ancient cultures of South America and Egypt, or to that of Greece and Italy. However, what I'm about to show you next may take you by surprise, as there are several examples of incredible ancient polygonal stone walls all the way over in the island country of Japan. Leave a comment if you are completely unaware of these walls, and like I said, there are a variety of different examples of them, and I'm only showing you a few here in this video. But compared to the stone walls of South America, which, although is not exactly the same, they will remind you of my skyscraper analogy I gave moments ago. Is this really just a coincidence, or a simple matter of organic human ingenuity within different civilizations that are worlds apart? Well, if that's what you think, wait until what you see next. Sarcophagus found in ancient Japan. Now, compare it to a notable stone sarcophagus that made headlines around the world in 2018 upon its discovery, with the whole world waiting in anticipation for it to be opened so we could see what's inside. I made 2 videos on this if you're interested, but look at the design of the stone lid, and now compare to the stone lid found in Japan. Both having somewhat of a triangular shape, although not exactly the same. However, now compare the Japanese stone lid to others that are found in ancient Egypt. Wow, this is beyond similar. Look at this and think for yourself. I do not see a coincidence here. I see a connection. An ancient connection that's not supposed to be possible at all. I mean, we're talking Egypt and Japan, worlds apart, especially in ancient times, and of course, according to the textbooks, there is no connection at all. Now, remember the Japanese polygonal stone walls I just shared with you, and let's head all the way to the complete opposite side of the Pacific Ocean to remote Easter Island, which is more than 2,000 miles from the nearest point of South America. Of course, you know, when we think of Easter Island, the notable Moai statues are probably the first thing to come to mind. Many people are surprised when they learn just how massive many of them actually are once they've been dug up and excavated. Just look at that. However, what most of you are likely to find even more surprising is to learn that there is an example of a polygonal stone wall on this island. Take a look at the details of this wall. I myself did not know this existed until creating this video, as it's the Moai statues that get all the attention. Now, compare this wall to a wall all the way over in Peru. Look at these comparisons and tell me that this isn't a total match. The side-by-side comparisons definitely make my eyebrow go up, because the consensus of academic scholars is that there is no connection between Easter Island and Peru. It is also widely accepted that the people of Easter Island came from the Polynesian islands to the west and settled on Easter Island. I do not disagree with that at all. However, let me quickly remind you of something before I show you something else, which is that transoceanic sea travel during this time frame was considered to be impossible, and again, to suggest it is fringe and pseudo-archaeological, like I stated earlier. So, how do we explain the unbelievably similar comparison to the little-known cloud people statues of Peru? Tell me this isn't unbelievably similar, and again, created at a time when travel between Peru and Easter was not considered a possibility. But that's not all. Compare these statues to others as far away as Turkey and, get this, Indonesia. Although not exactly the same, when you look at the more nuanced details such as hand positions and unique facial and jaw structure, I mean, come on, is this also just a coincidence? And then we remind you that the site in Turkey you see here, Göbekli Tepe, is the world's oldest megalithic site on Earth, dating back closer to 12,000 years, and was buried up until excavations began in just the 1990s. Something you'll find at this same site is the specific stone carving of someone holding a handbag. This is a very unique and specific connection that you will also find all the way back in Mesoamerica among the Olmec culture. This is so unbelievably similar, and to think that the bags themselves, the stone carving, dates back 6,000 years earlier from our first known documented civilization, which is the Sumerians, which they themselves have depictions holding this bag, and they are 6,000 years older than we are from present day right now. Incredible. How can something so unique be just a coincidence? However, that's what science community of academics and archaeologists say about it. Yet, most people walking around society have never even heard of this before. The authorities in the academic world shun it, yet they never even shared it with you so you could think for yourself. So, what do you think about it, having seen about these handbags for yourself? Is it just a coincidence? Now, speaking of the Sumerians, it's also worth mentioning that they share another similarity to that of ancient Greeks and Hindu gods of ancient India, which is the depiction of the trident. But does this prove a connection? Well, by itself, no. But that is not the only similarity shared between these three separate cultures. For example, the caduceus is the symbol showing two snakes intertwined and found throughout the modern world today among the medical and healthcare industries. What most people do not know is it has been found dating back as far as the ancient Sumerians of 6,000 years ago, like I just mentioned. Well, you may find it interesting to learn that this symbol was also utilized by the ancient Greeks, as well as in ancient India. Again, another interesting and specific coincidence for three separate cultures separated by time and distance. But it does not stop there. Even look at the depiction of a Greek god and Hindu god battling a multi-headed snake. Now that is a very specific and exclusive similarity, but again, by itself, it is not earth-shattering. Although Greece and India are far apart, the ancient borders of the Greek Empire were once not so far away from India during the height of their civilization. But you would think that these interesting details would be shared in school and the textbooks as a possible link, as a vast majority of people out there have never seen or heard of these details before. It seems to me that the ancient Greeks were more connected to India than is currently known or discussed. But let me keep going. I'm sure everybody is familiar with the incredible gold funerary masks of the ancient Egyptians. But what's interesting is that this ties into a similarity of the Inca of Peru and South America. This is an incredibly rare thing as well, as I only found one other culture that, and in only a few cases, also used gold funerary masks, and that was the Greeks, but only in the latter part of their civilization. And, you know, I have to say, isn't it amazing that the Egyptians were by far the best, the most highly skilled and sophisticated makers of these gold masks in comparison? And they did so thousands of years prior to the Inca or the Greeks. And speaking of gold masks, notice the depiction of a cobra snake at the forehead, something you'll also see on countless stone statues of pharaohs within ancient Egypt. Well, now take a look at how the cobra snake was depicted above the heads of ancient Hindu gods. Here you can see just a few examples. And although not exactly the same, this is without a doubt a specific similarity. I mean, why would anyone think to depict this, a cobra snake at the head? Of course, you can read the explanations provided by scholars, which is not consequential to this video, but rather the similarity itself is the significance, because there is absolutely no known acknowledged connection between ancient Egypt and ancient India. But let me keep going. Now, take a look at these examples of stone nubs on ancient sites in India. Many of you may have already heard me and others share examples of these unique stone nubs that are found in Peru and Egypt. Here are some examples found at Egyptian sites, including even that of a pyramid in Giza, as well as at the Osirian as well, and this is just to show you a few examples. Now, let me show you a few examples found in Peru, which there are many examples at various sites throughout this country, and let me point out real quick that I do not know the purpose of these nubs. But it is fair to say that it's not related to moving or lifting these stones as you would first think, because most of the stone blocks do not have them. Only some of them do. Plus, these nubs are found on various bedrock stones, which obviously had no intention of being moved or lifted. Here are just a few examples to share what I mean by that. So, whatever their purpose was, it's not important to the point that I'm trying to make, although it's a fun discussion for another video. The point I'm making here is to show you the widespread global nature of these nubs. And let me say this real quick, that even if the purpose of these stone nubs involved moving or lifting the stones themselves, then I would argue that it's even more supportive evidence of a widespread global connection. I mean, we have different ways of moving and lifting stones today, and we are a global civilization that pretty much uses the same exact technology, right? So if there was some sort of purposeful stone mark on any stone that we're moving or lifting, that would be because we're using the same technology to do so. So if we find these stone nubs across the world, as you're about to see, then you could argue that it's more supportive evidence that the ancients had a widespread global connection. But getting back to the widespread phenomena of the nubs, here are a few additional examples at various sites in India. And again, notice that they're on some, but not all of the stones. I'll be curious to see comments of how many people that were already aware of these nubs in Egypt and Peru, who were only just now learning of these nubs being in India as well. Leave a comment if you are. But here's where it becomes even more thought-provoking.
When you have zero worries and zero stress, there are zero reasons not to get into a Volkswagen. Click, call, or come by today. Visit our Volkswagen Sign-In Drive event and lease the 2020 Jetta S today with 0 down, 0 deposit, 0 first month's payment, and 0 to a signing.
As these nubs are at sites all over the world. For example, even at an ancient quarry in China. I'd be curious to know if there are other examples found at ancient sites in China, which is not easy to learn as many sites are closed off to the public. Lame, right? But you'll even find an example of nubs in Japan, which is interesting when you consider what I already pointed out involving the polygonal stone walls within Japan as well, and especially the comparison of the stone sarcophagus to the ones found in Egypt. But even if we head to the remote Micronesian island of Palau, where there is at least one example of nubs on another sarcophagus, I'd be curious if there were other examples that existed on the island, which I bet if there's one, there's more. Even as we head west to the islands of Indonesia, where I already shared the fascinating similarity between the Moai statues of Easter Island, Peru, and Turkey, well, you will also see examples of nubs here as well, and if you look closely, you will see more than just the few that grab your eye when you first see the image. But I really wasn't kidding when I said that these nubs are all over. Even if we head back to Africa, to the country of Ethiopia, you can see nubs on a stone sarcophagus there as well. And if we head to the neighboring country of Sudan, to where most people don't even realize also has pyramids and of incredible precision, although much smaller than those of the pyramids of Giza. But someone please tell me what on earth happened to make half of these just blown up or ripped apart in half. Notice that? What on earth is that about? But if we look closely, and I'm sorry that the pictures are not of the best quality, you will see nubs in some of the stones, and keep in mind that these stone blocks are much larger than you realize, and so are the nubs. So these are not just blemishes. Hopefully we can get our hands on better photos of these pyramids and other nubs that may be found on them, but even if we head to Europe, you will find examples of nubs in various countries, including Bulgaria, and again, notice that the nubs are on some, but not all of the stone blocks, as well, like I mentioned, at other locations. But we can even find examples of nubs in Syria, again, on some blocks, but most are without them. And if we head to Greece, there are a couple locations that have them as well. Interesting, though, that we don't find these nubs in Athens, at least from what I saw, and if they are, they certainly are not in abundance on
Yo, King, what's up, bro? Just about to get out of here too, dude. Oy. Oh shit! All right, guys. Probably take a little break from the painting for a minute. I'm gonna I ain't gonna lie, I'll probably go play some Cyberpunk for a couple hours. I'll stream that shit if y'all guys want to watch me play Cyberpunk. It's so funny what's going on with that game right now, but hey, it is what it is. You know, if y'all guys don't jump into my video game stream, I'll catch you guys next time I'm in the studio. Peace.